President's report. So as I reflect on the 2023 year, I want to share with you about implementing a 5-year strategic plan for Moorelands kids in 2023 that is anchored on the pillars of growth, modernization, and sustainability. And we met in 22, and we put together a 5-year strategic plan, and it's been going very well. We adapt it every year. And having such a storied history of evolving over the years, we continue to live out our mission with integrity. The new strategic plan directs our efforts with modern tools, approaches to increase the number of children and youth served. That is our main goal. We want to target increase of the number of children and youth served. So we're trying to raise more money. We're trying to build more programs. We're trying to grow our camps. We're trying to grow our school programs so that we can serve more kids. And so thank you. That's why we thank our corporate sponsors and the people that do donate. Another highlight of 2023 was extending our outreach to communities along the corridor of Toronto up to Moorelands Camp. This allowed us to connect with more low-income families in areas that we had not previously served, so that those kids could go to Moorelands Camp in the summer. So hopefully that makes sense to you, because we usually focused in the Toronto area, and because the camp is in 2.5 hours north of here, we thought it would be important to connect to those people there that are actually donating and feeling that they're connected with their families and maybe with their social economics of the areas that they live in. What is the future goal for Moorelands kids? The truth is that failing to invest in marginalized youth today will lead to a greater social and economic divide tomorrow, affecting communities and society at large. Moorelands Kids is committed to closing these gaps. Some of the things that Han talked about, ensuring every young person has an opportunity to achieve their full potential. It's really the idea is to try to grow an individual when they're young. As we look forward, we are heartened by the support shown by faithful friends who continue to invest in the work and the mission. As a board, we have full confidence in the Moorelands staff who are on the front lines, day to day and day out, leading the way because they are passionately committed to the work they do. We recognize the challenges that we face in front of us, an unstable economy, looking forward, we believe in the merit, impact, and positive outcomes being delivered for kids choosing Moorelands, enabling them to have a positive influence at home, at school, and their communities. So thank you very much.
I'm just going to share with everybody some quick highlights on our 2023 year. So as was previously already mentioned, Moorelands Kids was designated a top charity in Canada for 2023 by an outside body, Charity Intelligence. And they look at a host of measures to determine what a top charity in Canada is. Those include things such as fiscal responsibility, transparency, and mission impact. So it's another great recognition of Moorelands this year. In 2023, we raised operating revenues of approximately $2.3 million and ran a small deficiency of under $100,000. Moorelands was able to complete the build out of the junior cook area at the camp, which will allow for further gathering space for the youth and children at the camp. We'll continue capital projects in 2024 that are both required and that will enhance the camp experience for the campers. To meet our commitments in 2024, our budget projects that we will need to raise revenues of approximately $2.4 million. So obviously, here today, I'd like to both thank everybody for their commitment in the past and their continued commitment to helping Moorelands going forward. Together, we can continue to empower and help our youth discover their full potential. And without further ado, I'd like to call up Linda, our Executive Director.
One of the things that we were able to establish this year, you're going to hear a little bit more about this soon, but is a youth council. And we've talked about this for a little while. We wanted to bring the voices of youth into our planning and get their feedback. They're living it way more on the front lines. So we were able to do that. So we've created a forum for youth to voice, give us their ideas. We've given them some tasks and some work to do. And we just look forward to a good relationship moving forward. And you're going to hear from one of the people that are involved in that council today. The other thing, and Ryan talked about this, able to build this pavilion. And we used to call it Junior Cookout, but it's so magnificent. And we had to wait absolutely years to get the rest of the money for this. And once we got it together and COVID was over and people were building things again, we got this built. I think we've got to rename that because it's about half an hour walk from the camp, but still on our property. And so I think it's just an amazing brand new program space that we'll be able to use. And so, juniors went there. They're the little guys. They went there, cooked their dinner. This was their adventure, played games, and then went back to their cabins at night. But I feel we're going to be using this on a daily basis. It's just a great program space. Now, it is half an hour, so that is an adventure, or brings out groans in children, depending which group you have, okay? The other thing I want to recognize, and it's been alluded to, is a group of cottagers that come together and have been coming together to support the camp. On Coagama Lake, they gather, they have this amazing night, and it's called Starry Summer Nights, and there's a committee behind this who has faithfully organized this every year and have been so supportive of us. Last year they had a theme called Welcome Back Cottagers, again, post-pandemic. Just want to say thank you to that committee who worked so hard. They're already organizing this year's, and they're out in the community, and they're really elevating our brand and talking about our need and doing such a great job. I think the other thing is, I just want to share that often we share that our programs are transformative. And I want to take a few minutes to give you an example of transformation that I saw last summer firsthand. I met this grade 8 camper, and she was struggling to settle at the camp. Well, basically, she didn't want to be there. They show up sometimes. And she didn't want to enter into the group. She pulled away, and she intended to isolate herself. She was miserable. She was rude to her cabin mates. They tried to make friends with her, but she isolated herself at activities even, which is quite a challenge. She had talked to the supervisors of the girls' end and taken their time, and as I was at the camp, I was kind of voted next in line to talk to her. We talked at length, and she shared why she didn't want to be at camp. And she boldly stated that one of the problems with Moorelands was there's just too much to do. And that she was missing her online activities. More the root, right? She was adamant that she wanted to go home. So a call to Mom was made. Now, of course, we made a pre-call to Mom and got her on board. Mom really wanted her to stay and said she spends so much time isolated. She just wanted her to come to camp and really be in person with others and meet people. So they had the call. There was definitely some tension. I mean, this young lady had everybody lined up in her whole social sphere that could come and pick her up, and she named them all to Mom, and Mom's like, no, sorry, no, they're busy, not happening. So definitely there was some tension there, but Mom did well, holding her ground, and while being challenged. Anyway, this young lady, she reluctantly agreed to stay, but she was still being really negative. An overnight camping trip was planned, maybe a little bit more than a half an hour hike, and of course she refused to hike. But in the end, we just kind of moved on, and she made it. And she went on that hike. She returned from that camp out with a very different mindset. One night, overnight, with a group of girls and 2 caring leaders. She'd opened up, she'd got to know others. I didn't know about this until the theme meal, which was a medieval theme called Moorelandia. Everybody dresses up crazy, and that's when I saw her in the dining hall with her group. They were 14, they were all wearing these goofy crowns that they had made for this theme meal. Just kid fun. And they were all wearing it together. And guess what? So was she. And she was at that table, and she was laughing, she was engaged, she was relaxed. She had made connections, and she was a kid. I went over and I said to her, hey, I like your crown. And she just laughed. She drew me a little picture. She was a real artist, and she drew me a little picture later. But I would have to say that being in nature with caring leaders and a group of peers transformed that young lady last summer. And I've often thought of her this year and just the residual strength that she got from that. So on behalf of the staff and the board, I'm deeply grateful for the committed support of our community, our donors who've continued to invest in us and subsequently in the kids, like that young woman that I talked about. These are the children that we serve year over year. We're going to keep having camp be busy, by the way. It's a good thing.
Hi everyone, I'm Jody, and as mentioned, I've been coming to Moorelands since I was 9, so this year marks my 8th or 7th year with Moorelands. And since that very first year, camp has always been the highlight of my summers. And it was also responsible for many of my firsts. It was my first time away from home for an extended period of time without any adults with me, well, adults from my family. It was also my first time camping out, swimming in a lake, trying out canoeing and water sports like paddleboarding, archery, and all this good stuff. Being such a unique experience, it's no wonder that my time there has influenced me. In my opinion, camp made what was implicit explicit. So what I mean by that is that often in day-to-day life, things slip through the cracks. For lack of a better way of saying it, sometimes good behavior isn't always reinforced and not so good behavior isn't always caught in time. So think, like a lot of what is considered the norm thrives off of negativity. Think of the phenomenon that was your mama jokes, or how widespread a lot of self-deprecating humor is, especially in teens. That isn't to say there isn't a place for this kind of culture, but camp showed me that this wasn't necessary to have fun, that we could find other and more positive ways of enjoying ourselves. Now, I'd like to share one of my most memorable memories at camp. It happened during the first time I ever went there. So after we arrive on the island, we have lunch and then we go to the nurses for a health check. And I remember after head checks, they pulled me aside and told me, hey, we're gonna give you a little head massage. And they did. They put some stuff in my hair, they played around with it, they massaged my head, and then afterwards they put it in some 2 nice braids, and I felt really cool, and I felt really special and pretty. And then afterwards, throughout that week, I got some compliments for my nice hair, and also I ended up returning to the nurses there a couple more times. They washed my hair out, put the braids back in, put more lotion in it. And then it's only when I got home that I realized that the reason why they did that was because I had lice. And in retrospect, I realized what an accomplishment it is that they were able to handle the situation with such grace and care that I didn't feel any negative after effects from that. I didn't feel ashamed, I didn't feel embarrassed. I just had a wonderful time at camp. And to me, that's just a testament to the positive atmosphere that camp creates. The atmosphere was always one that was encouraging me to be the best I could. And what I mean by that is, I was a good kid, like I still am, but it's not that I didn't choose my response, I didn't decide a plan, consider and resent others, achieve more together, care for myself inside and out, and all that good stuff. It's just that it wasn't a conscious effort. But being at camp meant that I realized that in addition to being a good kid, I was also a bit loud and often the loudest voice in the room. This meant that often I could be a bit inconsiderate of others and sometimes I would speak over others. So it was being at camp that showed me that this wasn't exactly what leadership had to be. I thought that being loud and being able to give orders and being a bit bossy was what leadership was, and camp showed me otherwise. It is at my time at camp that I worked on figuring out how to balance this side of myself, as well as like being an active participant and without having to speak over others. Once high school rolled around, I caught wind of Vital and I decided to give it a try. And they ended up doing it online because of the pandemic, which is the first time I got to try it. My time at Vital for me has been especially valuable as a respite and a break from and a de-stressor from my busy day-to-day life with schoolwork, lots of schoolwork. And for an hour each week, I get to see old friends. I got to meet some people I never thought I would have ever connected with, and I also get to have just a really fun time playing games, like just talking about random topics and all that fun stuff. And like camp, Vital has just been an opportunity for me to get outside of my bubble as I interact with people from all around the city and from all kinds of backgrounds. As an extension of the same sort of camp environment, this positive and really fun and encouraging ambiance, it's brought a little more positivity in my daily life. Thank you. Moorelands has been a part of my life life for as long as I can remember. That is, since 4th grade. Since then, I've participated in the regular summer camp program, then moving on to their high school programs, just like Jody, and as well as their city programs, and most recently, the Youth Council. So today I'm here to speak about my experience and the impact Moorelands has had on me. I was first introduced to Moorelands by my social worker at school. I remember she had asked me what was something that I really wanted to do, and at that time I'd been reading like some books about summer camp or watching some TV show about summer camp, I don't remember, but they were at an overnight camp, and I just thought, wow, that seems really fun. Getting away from my mom for a week would be really nice. So she showed me Moorelands, and the rest is history. So camp for me helped me realize a lot about myself. It made me feel more comfortable in my own skin. I wouldn't say I was troubled as a kid, but I was moody, and I did struggle with a little bit of negativity, but camp definitely helped me come out of my shell a bit. It was just such a positive and joyous place. Even if it took a while, a couple days, I couldn't help myself from having fun. But it was really my time at STEP, which is the last year of the high school programs, that really did have a huge impact on me. I learned a lot about my strengths and weaknesses as a leader and a person. It let me see that I could still be a leader in my own way. I remember it was during the second week of STEP. I was with the seniors during their swimming map, and I was sitting out with some of the other kids that were also sitting out from swimming, and we just made conversation. I just talked to them. I didn't teach them the ways of life or the wisdoms I have as a 16-year-old. We just talked about some random stuff. I think we talked about music and instruments and a little bit about school, but we just talked, and I hope that made them feel a little more included, and I hope that made like a really nice experience for them. And with that experience, I just saw another form of leadership, and the peek behind the curtain during that week of camp really made me appreciate how much goes into making it a fun time. Honestly, it really was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That lifetime not being that much, since I am 16. But I definitely won't forget it. And finally, the more recent development, the Youth Council. Right now, I have the honor of being the president or chair of the council, which means I send a bunch of emails. The Youth Council has been my first taste of office life. Email, planning, then more emails, and more planning, and then a meeting. But really, the Youth Council has been a wonderful experience. I really appreciate just how involved I can get with the community. It's nice to have my voice be appreciated, especially in something I really care about. We've recently been brainstorming some ideas for outreach from the youth perspective, like what would reach us as youth. And we've been working on a video, pretty awesome video if I do say so myself, to promote the Vital program. The council is not even 6 months old yet, so it's still a bit early to speak a whole lot on it.
I think you can hear in what both Jody and Andrea said that it is relationships. It is really relationships, that opportunity, and then who you get to rub shoulders with and who cares for you. It gives you that opportunity to grow, and now they are pursuing that as different kind of leaders. They want to lead others as well. We have, as I said, our youngest donor and very big philanthropist with us today, and I'm going to ask Riley to come up here now. We have a different relationship with Riley. He's been helping us. You've got a cottage, right?
Yeah.
Where's your cottage?
Kawagama.
You say that again?
Kawagama.
There we go. So he's got a cottage on Kawagama Lake, and he's been helping Moorelands without being at the camp, and I think it's a fascinating story and one that we all need to hear about. I'm going to hand you this. All right? You okay?
Yeah, great. Good afternoon. I'm here today because over the last 3 years, I've raised over $10,000 for Moorelands kids. My name is Riley Applin, and I am 9 years old. Most of the year, I spend my time playing rep hockey and lacrosse with Brampton. However, during the summer, I'm at my happy place. I am lucky to be able to spend a lot of time in the cottage in the summer at the cottage. And my great-great-grandparents built the cottage on Kawagama Lake in 1947. If I'm not swimming, I'm probably venturing somewhere on the lake with my mom and dad and our good friend Karen. In 2020, our friend Karen started a fundraiser called the Aqua Hug. The idea of a swim is that everyone positions themselves around Moorelands Kid, and at the sound of the air horn, everyone will swim up to the end point, forming a moving hug around the camp. Unfortunately, in 2020, I was unable to participate. However, in 2021 and 2022, I was able to join and take part in the swim. In 2021, I was able to raise over $1,000 and swim a distance of 250 meters. In 2022, I decided to up my goal and swim 500 meters and raise $1,100. I came up with the idea of hosting a lemonade stand in Brampton. I also went to Brampton Farmers Market with a money jar and a sign that said, "Help me send unprivileged kids to camp. Any donation helps." Between these two things, I was able to raise $1,800, and with donations from family and friends, I ended up raising $3,600. Enough to send free kids to camp. This brings us to last year's Aqua Hug. Sadly, not a lot of people signed up to swim, and Aqua Hug got canceled. So I decided to do my own fundraiser. I set a goal for $5,000 and swim an entire kilometer at the regatta. We started with doing another lemonade stand. We raised just over $1,000 in about 3 hours. This wasn't nearly enough. We came up with the idea to sell our lemonade in concentrate batches to cottagers on the lake. We advertised on a Quaggan Lake Facebook group that for a $40 donation to Moorelands Camp, they would get enough concentrate to make 2 liters of lemonade and have it delivered to their docks by me. My mom joked with people that vodka was not included. We had a few cottagers buy some, but not nearly enough to hit our goal. It wasn't until someone by the name of Jeff Kosar commented that he would like to change that vodka non-clue comment. This is where things got crazy. Jeff is the owner of Mighty Moose Vodka Distillery. He offered to donate a bottle of vodka to every bag of lemonade that I sold. Once I posted this on Facebook, we couldn't squeeze lemons fast enough. Over the next few weeks, with the help of a new juicer, we juiced hundreds of pounds of lemons. We sold well over 70 bags of lemonade and vodka. I blew past my $5,000 goal. The regatta was held on August 5th, 2023. On top of all the lemonade selling, I had also been practicing every day to complete my big 1-kilometer swim around Moorelands Camp. I hosted a lemonade stand at the regatta, which ended up also having freezies and baked goods. I then jumped into the lake for my big 1-kilometer swim. As I came to the finish line, there was a group of cottagers and camp counselors cheering me on. It was a very rewarding day as I accomplished such a big swim for such a great cause. Thank you for listening.
No further ado, I'd like to call up Kim Bradshaw.
To give you this helping hand award, Daniel.
We just thank you for using your time and your treasures and your expertise. You've pushed us ahead so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
that. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the board. Thank you so much for the corporate donations and your own donations that you give. So just thank you so much for continuing to participate and being part of this great organization. Thank you, team.